That is serious. And I want people to understand that. That's serious. We're not talking about one school. We're talking about 274 schools. 274. We're talking about 194,000 plus students. And these are our kids. And I think it's important to note, that the studies indicate that when the state comes in and takes over a school district, especially the size of HISD, that the performance of our students goes down. Not up, it goes down. So let me speak to all of the parents in HISD, not just Hispanic parents, not just African American parents. Let me speak to parents, white parents, Anglos, Asians. This is not the fight of one or two. This should be the fight of everyone. If parents, if your kids are in a school that's performing very well, don't assume that when the state comes in, that your school will continue to get the support and the help that has been provided to you over the years. This is not a battle for one group or two groups. I come before you, I represent the entire city of Houston. And when I look at the studies, when I read the studies say that when the state comes in and takes over, the academic performance of that district goes down for the next 4 to 5 years. And it's only after 4 to 5 years will the academic performance come back to where it was before the takeover. Get them out. So understand, and then let me just say this. Just because the state says they intend to come in and take over on June the 1st, parents, teachers, cafeteria workers, custodians, you have the final say. You have the final say. I believe that if parents, and then get this, you mean to tell me that the commissioner and others in the state, that they are not going to come to the largest school district, to the parents, and talk to the parents, or talk to the teachers? The person who will be making the decision on who these board of managers will be, who the superintendent will be. They're talking to other people behind closed doors, but they will not come out front and talk to the parents. I heard 2 weeks ago the governor said something which I like. The governor said to the parents in Cyprus, parents' voices matter. The governor said to those parents in Cyprus that parents matter. Well, let me say this. If parents matter in Cyprus, and if parents matter in Katy, and if parents matter in Sugar Land, then parents should matter in HISD. And so I'm saying to parents, all parents, stand up and say to TEA that this takeover should not and will not take place. Do not assume that it's just going to happen. Fight for your kids. Stand up for your kids. And reclaim the power that is rightfully yours. This battle is for the future of public education in the state of Texas. Now is the time to stand up and fight for public education.
Thank you. Sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede. Yeah! Oh man, I'm fired up, and this is why I believe in our elected officials. If you show up, you inspire us, and you get things done. Our next elected official does that too. I've seen him at many a march. I've seen him at many a community meeting. It's a pleasure to welcome Congressman Al Green.
Good morning, everyone. Would you kindly give our MC, Mr. Diaz, an expression of appreciation? Also, our U.S. Congressperson who represents this district, a very dear friend who has been a part of this movement from its genesis, and she will be with us throughout the revelations, the Honorable Sylvia Garcia. And of course, our mayor deserves an expression for what he has just said. And we have Mr. Diaz, the national president of LULAC is here. Would you give him a hand, please? And Sergio, our local president, give him a hand, please. And State Representative Ron Reynolds. Now, dear friends, I want to share some information. I don't plan to give you a speech, just to share information. After the Brown decision in 1955, the voucher movement was born, and the father of it was Milton Friedman. Milton Friedman wanted to take the tax dollars that would go to schools and give them to parents so that parents could send their children to what they were calling the school of choice. Yes. It was a means by which invidious discrimination known as segregation would continue. It was all an effort to maintain a segregated society. That movement continued until this day. And we have a governor in this state now who wants to take public dollars, give them to private individuals so that they can put their children in private schools. That's what the voucher movement is about. That's what taking over HISD is about. At some point, HISD as you know it now will not exist because vouchers will have robbed it of its coffer that brings the children to the schools. This is something that we have to fight. I just celebrated my 25th birthday for the third time. Thank you. I'm Houston's oldest teenager. Friends, I know what it's like to drink water from a filthy colored water fountain. I know what it's like to sit in the back of the bus and be told to move even further back. I know what it's like to have to go to the movie if they allow you in and have to sit in the balcony. I know what it's like to go to the back door and get your food. No place inside for you to eat. Back door. I do not want to return to a segregated society. A segregated society creates inferiority in the minds of some because they will see how well some others are being treated. We cannot allow our children to go back. That's right. They left the school system, many of them. It was flight. They left, and now they want the money to take care of the system that they created for themselves. You're not going to get our tax dollars in this system. Our tax dollars are going to stay in the school system for the public so that we can have an integrated system, so that children can learn to live and work and play with each other, so that we will have a better society for all of the children that live in this country, not just the few who are privileged to have a voucher. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. But this should be spoken about in every single classroom in Texas. And it's not. And the same forces that Congressman Green spoke about are trying to ban our history from the classroom because they don't want us to know that truth. So it's up to us to take this information to our families, family libraries, community centers, and we keep it alive because this is vital history to share. Our next speaker is State Representative Ron Ronalds, who the last time I saw him, he was on a Black-Brown Dialogue Committee fighting to get rid of these. There's a lot of campaigns against diversity, education, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I saw him meeting with a Black-Brown committee to defy those, and he's here today to make sure we work together. Thank you.
All right, who's fired up? Who has said enough is enough? Houston, we have a problem, and it's called Governor Abbott and the TEA. But guess what? We're going to continue to stand up and speak truth to power. We're going to stand up in the image of John Lewis and make some good trouble. Who's ready to make some good trouble? Who's ready to say, not on our watch? When we sit down quietly and let Governor Abbott and his hostile TEA take over HISD, not on our watch. You know what this is about? Congressman Green is right. Mayor Turner is right. Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia is right. This is about Black and brown communities. This is about many of the Republicans, the MAGA extremists in charge. They're afraid of this diversity. Texas has the largest African-American population in the country. Hispanics and African Americans make up the majority with the Asians, and they're afraid of this diversity. They don't want to embrace this diversity. That is why Governor Abbott is rolling back the clock. He is defiling the progress that we've made under diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we cannot remain silent. We must push back. We must continue to fight. And that is why I'm proud to see the teachers out here and our national AFT president out here. That is why I'm happy to see LULAC and the NAACP and Black Voters Matter and labor and bus drivers and teachers and custodians, all of us united as one, saying not on our watch. You know what they want to do? They want to privatize, they want to voucherize, they want to shut down schools so that they can give them to their private developers. That is what they want to do. This is a money grab. This is a power grab. They want to take away local control from our elected school board trustees that are accountable to our communities. And when we don't want like what they're doing, guess what? We can get rid of them. But these appointed board of managers that are appointed by Mike Morath, they're accountable to Governor Abbott. They're accountable to large campaign contributors that believe in nonsense like critical race theory, that don't want to teach accurate history, that believe in vouchers, that don't believe in science, that don't believe in livable wages. These are the people that are in control, and that is why elections matter. That is why we have to roll up our sleeves and fight. That is why we have to continue to march and protest and vote and hold all of them accountable. So I hope that everyone is ready to be fired up. I hope that everyone is ready to unite. When we come together, you all, there's nothing that can stop us when blacks and browns, that is where he's right. When we come together, we cannot allow division and strife. United we stand, divided we fall. So let's continue to work together as a team. Together, everyone achieves more.
I'm going to continue to fight. The Texas Legislative Black Caucus is proud to fight and stand with you. I'm the proud chairman. We're working in solidarity with the Mexican American Legislative Caucus. We're working in solidarity with LULAC. We're working in solidarity with the NAACP. And together, with all of you, we will fight and we will defeat the hostile TEA takeover of HISD, not on our watch. God bless you, and let's continue to speak truth to power. Thank you. Fight, 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 fight. El pueblo está en la lucha, se siente y se escucha. El pueblo está en la lucha, se siente y se escucha. El pueblo está en la lucha. This is beautiful, yeah! And thank you for supporting House Bill 45, which would make Mexican American history and African American history count towards high school graduation requirements. Thank you so much. We have a parent coming up, and I need to tell you something. When you talk to your neighbors, and they think that this is a conspiracy theory or that we're exaggerating, o si hablan con sus vecinos y creen que este es el tiempo de ser humilde y no meterse en este asunto, les voy a decir algo. Like many of you, my folks were migrant workers. I'm the first Chicano to get a Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing from the University of Houston. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Through education, like many of you, I've been able to achieve the American dream through education. Through education. Tell your neighbor, dile a sus familiares que el sueño americano a través de la educación está en peligro. The American dream through education is in danger. We have to act now, or we're going to have a whole generation of youth that will not have a chance at prosperity. We're not asking for anything extra. We're asking for what's fair and just. We're demanding it. And it's all at play right now. And today, we are teaming up for the parents. So it gives me a great honor to bring up to the microphone. Let's give her a warm round of applause. A parent that's here today. Ana Viramontes Shooter, por favor. Si se puede. Thank you for coming.
Got it? Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning. My name is Ana Viramontes Shooter, and I'm a proud parent of an HISD student, and I also work for HISD. I'm an employee. I'm against the TEA takeover because it's wrong to take away our rights to vote. We voted for our elected officials that we have in there today. We voted for our board, we voted for our superintendent, and what they're doing is taking away that right that we justly deserve. They will put managers in place and a manager or superintendent that we didn't vote in or we didn't have, sorry. Okay, thank you. Okay. That we put in that we were not able to vote for. They will have, let me see. I'm also against the TEA because I feel that the HISD will become a charter district. And charters are not the place to be. HISD takes all students, and with any of disabilities or social economic statuses, they take everybody. And charters, they don't do that. They use lottery systems, and they go and they pick the children that are in there, and especially children with special needs, they really don't have a place in charter schools. Let's fight for our rights for our students, and join me by signing a petition against the TEA by signing at HoustonCVPE.org. And again, my name is Ana Viramontes Shooter. Thank y'all so much for having me out today.
Wait up, Anna. You seemed a little nervous.
Yes.
Why were you nervous? Why were you nervous?
Huh?
Why were you nervous?
It's just, just nerves, but also it's just, trying to make people aware of what's going on. A lot of parents don't know what's going on and how it will affect us.
So you were nervous, right? Let's applaud her for being brave to come out. So you were nervous. You had other things to do today.
Yes, but
Why did you come today? Why did you put your time and energy to come today saying those words, overcoming your fears? You did a great job though, right? Yeah. You're awesome. Why was it so important?
Because, I mean, I believe in HIC. I'm a HIC graduate myself, so, I mean, we all are. My parents, my grandparents, I mean, we all were with HIC, and for them just to strip that away from us to be with some sort of board of managers, I'm not very happy with that at all.
I love it. Anna, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for speaking up for us. And next time you go out in public, even if you're the only one, look around. Look around at all the people here. All the people here, we're with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me today.
Man. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have a movement on our hands. I think we have a movement on our hands. And a lot of our partners are familiar with this. I want to bring up to the stage the head of the American Civil Liberties Union, Ani Blair, and they fought a lot of these fights, and they won a lot of them, so we're happy to march with them arm in arm. Thank you.
Good morning. Buenos dias. My name is Ani Blair, and I'm proud to serve as the Executive Director of the American Civil Liberties Union of Texas. Thank you. The ACLU of Texas has fought for civil rights and civil liberties in this state for 85 years. And today I stand here not just as part of the ACLU of Texas, but I stand here as a parent of 3 elementary children in HISD. I stand here as a taxpayer, a property owner who pays taxes that support our facilities and our schools and our education. And I stand here as a voter, someone who voted in HISD elections for people who are accountable to me. I'm here because my vote matters. Our votes matter, and when we vote for someone, those people are there because we elected them, and that's how elections work. It's the foundation of our democracy. But what HISD is experiencing right now is that the TEA, the Texas Education Agency, has taken away our power to vote. They've ousted democratically elected officials who are accountable to me and to you, the voters, and replaced them by the governor and the TEA commissioner with a board that is only going to be accountable to them. That's not right. That's not how this is supposed to work. In the last 2 years, as many other people have said, the governor and TEA together have sought to erase the histories of Black and brown people, LGBTQIA people, Jewish people, by banning books. They've decided to erase Black and brown people and opportunities, equitable opportunities and inclusion by erasing DEI in hiring or education. They've erased everything in every possible way. But we won't stand for that. That's why we're here today. Every day we have been fighting at the Capitol as part of our organization to ensure that we are not erased and our power and our votes are not erased. And that's why in a second today, we are filing any moment now with the Department of Justice to fight back and ensure that our vote is represented. We are calling on the U.S. Department of Justice to ensure that the voters in Houston have their vote and that our vote is accountable. The people we vote for are accountable to us. That's why I need you every day to show up. This fight is not over. It is hard. It is stressful. I have 3 kids. It took a miracle to get here this morning on time. I get it. So many people, whether you work in the building, whether you work outside of the building, whether you are taking a child to school, whether you're raising a child who is not your own, we are in this together and we have to keep fighting together. We have to fight to protect our vote. We have to fight to protect our education. And we have to fight to protect our history and our identity, or else all of our power will be taken away. Thank you for being here today, and make sure that you bring someone and sign the petition. Thank you.
Let's continue to educate so we continue to elevate. Let's continue to educate so we continue to elevate. Let's continue to educate so we continue to elevate. HESP keeping that energy up like they do every day. They keep these buildings going. Appreciate that. Appreciate that spirit. Next up, and that's a major announcement, by the way. Thank you to our partners at the American Civil Liberties Union. We're not playing. We're not playing. We're not playing. This ain't over. TA, you don't know who you mess with, TA. You don't know who you mess with, TA. It's on. That's a powerful act right there. Next up, State Representative who's always here at these events. Please welcome John Rosenthal. Thank you for your allyship.
Thank you so much. I'm John Rosenthal, and I represent House District 135. I'm here all the way from Northwest Harris County to stand in solidarity with you. And I like seeing you all together, because when our public schools are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. Say it with me. Stand up, fight back. When public education is under attack, stand up, fight back. When our teachers are under attack, stand up, fight back. When our black and brown kids are under attack, stand up, fight back. When our trans and genderqueer kids are under attack, stand up, fight back. We're here to stand against the TEA takeover. I'm an engineer by trade, so we do database decision making. These folks have no history of making any improvements in any schools. And they claim to be doing this because they want to improve our schools. Our schools under local leadership are already improving. The examples that they point to, Wheatley and Kashmir Gardens, are already making the grade. They're almost B-rated schools now. So what are they going to do? We sat with the education commissioner, and we said, if your point is to improve the schools, what are you going to do different than what we're doing right now in these schools? I'll tell you what, he had no answer for us. They're going to do this because they want to do it. What we need for these schools is for the state to put more resources in. That's what we need. If you have a school that hasn't had a certified math teacher in 6 years, get them the teachers. So I'm glad to see the teachers here. I'm glad for Hope. I'm glad for AFT. Thank you all so much for letting me be here with you in solidarity. When our schools are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great words, great sentiment. And we're having an outdoor ethnic studies class. So I want to tell you about one of the oldest Mexican-American Latino civil rights organizations in the nation. Any other LULAC members in the house? Besides any LULAC members in the house? We got LULAC in the house. Almost 100 years old, and they have fought many, many battles that look like they could not be won. But when la gente se une, we win. And now that we're marching together, black and brown, and all our other allies, you know nothing can stop us. So please welcome the national president, who has steered many of these battles and won, Domingo Garcia.
Buenos dias. Happy Cesar Chavez Day. Now, I march with Cesar, and we always started every march, every rally, with the UFW kind of clap. So we're going to start. It starts slow, and we build up. Ready? ¡Con ganas! All right. Que viva la raza. I want to send a message to the politicians and the bureaucrats in Austin, Texas. Governor Abbott, ya basta. TA Commissioner Mike Marif, ya basta. Enough is enough. You do not play with the lives of the children of Houston, Texas. They are not guinea pigs for vouchers and charter schools. Let me tell you, as the son of a mother who went to first grade, a father who went to third grade, who were farm workers, I know that the key to my success was the public schools. I went to public schools and was the first person in my family to graduate from high school. I went to a public college, and I'm proud to say I went to a public law school, Thurgood Marshall School of Law. where I graduated from, here in Houston, Texas. And I'm going to talk to you about Thurgood Marshall, give you a little history lesson. The first case that LULAC won that was significant that went to the U.S. Supreme Court was Mendez versus Westminster. And it was about an 8-year-old girl who wanted to go to the white school in Westminster, California. But she was Mexican-American and they wouldn't let her go. Okay? So LULAC filed a lawsuit. That case went to the U.S. Supreme Court. And in Mendez versus Westminster, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that separate and unequal for Mexican-Americans was unconstitutional. And that laid the precedent for Brown versus Topeka 2 years later. Okay? So I tell you those stories because we have been in the struggle. And when I see the politicians and the bureaucrats try to whitewash our history, whitewash slavery, the stealing of land, the genocide of Native Americans, Jim Crow, Jose Crow, the voter suppression laws that we're seeing today, and take in the rights of parents to elect who represents them in their schools. The inherent democracy of having the ability to decide who represents the school district here, and the teachers and the students. That is so wrong. That is why LULAC stands today on Cesar Chavez Day, with everybody here, the teachers, the parents, and the students, to say, ya basta, no más, y vamos para adelante. And let me tell you, is it kind of ironic that they're doing it in the largest school district in Texas? A school district that is vastly majority black and brown? Okay? We must not let that happen anymore. No. That's why what Cesar Chavez says, you can't have anybody on your back if you're educated. Okay? If you know, and you know what's going on, then nobody can ride you, nobody can dominate you, nobody can rule you. So we need to make sure that as we move forward, seguimos para adelante porque sabemos que con ganas todo se puede. And I will finish with that. Because Cesar said, you have to teach the people that you can win. Y por eso, sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede. So, I want to let the message out to everybody in Houston. Just because they say it so, doesn't mean it will be so. Okay? In Los Angeles, they walked out in 1968 when the schools weren't educating. Okay? In Dallas in 2008, they walked out. Okay? So I'm just telling you, there are things we can do. And like you said, as Congressman Lewis said, good trouble is the best trouble. Thank you.
Yeah, we're having an ethnic studies class today. And HESP, I love it. You ready? You ready? When I say TA, you say go away. TA, 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 go away. Go away. Go away. And I want to remind folks, we are celebrating Cesar Chavez Day because one of our next speakers played a role not only in fighting for ethnic studies and teaching in the classrooms. He's a PhD. He's an expert. He fought to make sure that HISD would observe Cesar Chavez Dolores Huerta Day. I'm so glad to invite him up. He's a dear friend. He's also the president of Greater Houston 4967. He's a PhD. Only 3% of our people are PhDs. Dr. Sergio Lira, por favor.
Cesar Chavez quote said, "You cannot oppress the people who are no longer afraid. We are no longer afraid." Let me just start off by saying, this is a moment in time that's going to be in the annals of history for Houston and HISD. First, I want to thank you all for being here. And let's not forget that we are not here, all of you and us, because we wanted to be here. We here with good health because of the will of God. Let's not forget that. Now let me just say one thing. Let's not forget that. Let me just say one thing. Well, several things. I'm speaking on behalf of somebody who spent 30 years advocating for public education. From elementary school to high school, from high school to the board, and now from the board to the community. Once an educator is always an educator for all students. I am also 3 generations of HISD students. My son graduated from this school and my daughter. My son went on to an Ivy League school. I was recruited in 2006. You may not know this, but in 2006, this school was on the verge of closure. Just like Wheatley High School was on the verge of closure in 2006. We came together as a strong administrative team and turned the school around. We didn't need TEA, we needed strong leadership. That's what we needed. People that understand public education. People like Mrs. Saldivar, who was our librarian and English teacher here. Mr. Sanders back there, band director. This is what it's all about. It's about you, the teacher, the student, the parents, and strong, effective leadership. We know this is a hostile Republican takeover. It has nothing to do about students because this is a B+ district. And I want to caution everybody, all of you, when that board of managers is there on June 1st, listen to these buzzwords. District of Innovation. That is the buzzword, code word for charter schools. They're going to go over the slow performing schools. Do not get fooled by what they're saying. Do not get fooled. District of Innovation is the buzzword for charterizing, sabotaging public education for our kids and our taxpayers and our parents and our community. And finally, I want to say, and he coined the phrase, he said, send a message to them that we never give up, and especially for our students, our teachers, our faculty, our support staff, our cafeteria workers, bus drivers, janitors that make these schools successful. We would never forget the coin phrase from Cesar Chavez, si se puede, y si se puede, and we're not giving up, and we're going to fight, because this is a defining moment in history. Thank you for being here, and God bless you, y si se puede.
Thank you so much, Sergio. Dr. Lira, gracias, Dr. Lira. Appreciate you so much. And like we said, we are here for the parents and the students. We want to give a big round of applause. By the way, you've been a great audience. I want to thank you all for getting here early. You got a lot of energy. I feel all the positive vibes. Sometimes I get mad when I join up. I just feel sorry for our oppressors. You know, I just feel sorry for them because they get jealous, they get mean, and we still win. And we still win. And we're here to love our parents. They're coming up. So please welcome a parent that is here to share their story, Allison Newport.
Thank you. My name is Allison Newport, and I am the proud parent of 2 HISD students, a 3rd grader and a 5th grader. And I'm so happy to see lots of parents here, but I want to see more. I want to see more parents from more schools. I keep hearing that there's nothing we can do. I keep hearing people say, isn't it already going to happen? It's a done deal. No, it's not a done deal. It's not over, okay? So I want you to share your story with your friends. I want you to tell other parents. We got to get more parents from more schools involved. And what can we do? We can sign the petition. We can talk. We can tell our story as far as we can to as many parents as we can. And we can create some good trouble. On April 6th, the day that the Board of Managers applications are due, I'm going to be sitting out front of my school with my kids. We're going to be drinking coffee and talking about TEA. And I think that other parents should do that too. So if you can organize events at each of your schools, that would be amazing. All right? We don't have to give up yet. It's not over. Not over. Thank you.
Now you're on TV or radio, right? Because she was good, right? So do you speak in public a lot?
I do.
But you do want to get more parents involved, right?
Yes.
So I have a radio show on 90.1 FM KPFT. Oh, thank you very much. I would love to invite you and Ana and other parents to be on our show to say exactly what you're saying. En español también. Los padres que en este momento quieren compartir su historia, por favor, déjenme su información para contactarlos, porque yo quiero ponerlos en la emisora de KPFT, nuestra palabra Latino, what is having to say. So I'm going to follow up with you. Would you come on my show? Sure. Awesome. Thank you so much for all you're doing. Appreciate that. Y eso es para todos ustedes que vienen humildemente a presentar sus historias, luchar por sus familias. Me da mucha emoción, me da mucho orgullo que ustedes estén aquí, y aquí estamos para servir. En lo que pueda ayudar, por favor, déjanos saber. Y ahora tenemos un alumno. We have a student. Round of applause for students. Great leaders. Please welcome Ivana Washington. I'm sorry. I had it out of order. I apologize. Save that as applause. Teachers. Any teachers in the house besides myself? Oh, yeah. We got teachers in the house. I love it. I'm in the American Federation of Teachers. My brothers and sisters are in the Houston Federation. Librarians. And support. We're support. Right now, we're bringing up the leader of our fellow union of the Houston Federation of Teachers, Jackie Anderson.
When education is under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. When education is under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. I'm in this fight with you. I will not back down. They will not take our schools. These schools belong to us. We have made tremendous progress through a pandemic. We gave 110%. What did you give, Mike Morrell? What did you give, Governor Abbott? You're trying to strip our schools. You never give us the funding we need. It's time to stop. We have had enough, and we're going to fight back. Let me tell y'all something. I heard Mike Morrell was in the building last night. Yeah. But when we started calling him out, he ran like the coward he is. He needs to get to Houston. He needs to answer to us. He needs to come and face us, because guess what? We are HISD. Stop hiding. Come and face us. Come and do what you're supposed to do and be the leader you are being paid to do. Stop it. Enough is enough. We have given 110%. We continue to give each and every day. Stop it. Stop it now. Our teachers work hard. We give more. We pay out of our own pockets to provide the things we need for our students. We continue to give and give and give and give and give. What are you going to give us? You won't even respect us enough to come and talk, to come and answer questions. You send your minion down here, and all he can say is, it's up to the board of managers. You chosen them. You ought to be able to give them the answers. We are tired of this mess. These are our schools, and we're going to fight to defend them. We're going to fight till the very last day. It's never over. These schools belong to us. We will fight for our schools, and we're not giving up. When education is under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. When education is under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. TEA is tearing us apart. They're trying to tear us apart. Let me correct that. They will not succeed. These schools belong to us. We will fight for them. We will fight, and we will not stop.
Thank you, Jackie. One more time. What did you say? When education's under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. Yeah. Now, Star! Boycott Star! Boycott Star! Boycott Star! Boycott Star! Woo! Now I gave a preview of this introduction, but we're really proud of, we are here for the students. And I mentioned her earlier, we were practicing applauding for her. Let's make her feel the love because we're so proud. A student is here to speak, Ivana Washington. Yeah!
Hi, my name is Ivana Washington and I'm a senior at Lamar High School. I was in 9th grade when COVID first hit, so I had to spend like half of my high school experience online. There's students like me that COVID has affected in ways that the government doesn't even care about. It feels like all he cares about are test scores and not us as students. Students who are looking and working hard for our futures. We are more than just a test score, we are human beings. I've really enjoyed learning, and this year I've really been enjoying my hands-on classes. My English teacher is like amazing. I can tell she really wants us to learn, and she like motivates us and comes up with really creative lessons that she knows we will enjoy. I can tell that when I'm in class, she really wants me to actually understand what I'm being taught and that she cares for me and my peers. I'm concerned that if the state takes over, students won't get the support they need and students will start being taught things just because of testing, and we will lose what makes students enjoy school. So, if you care about HISD students like me, please sign the petition on our website at houstoncvpe.org. Thank you.
Man, was she awesome or what? This is what y'all do on a day in, day out basis, create young leaders like this. And I'm a college professor. She sounds like a senior in college, okay? So, let me ask you this. Are you used to speaking in public?
I've spoken a few times about the takeover. Like, this is my 3rd time, but other than that, not really.
Thank you for being a champion for the students, for coming out. I'd like to have you on my radio show if you would join us. Would you be up for that?
Yeah.
Fantastic. If you have any of your peers that want to join us, we want to be part of that voice. But let's get something straight. She's going to be on the air because y'all came together. Y'all fired her up. Y'all educated her. Y'all made her feel powerful. And that's what I follow you. Thank you so much. Makes us very proud. HISD works. What'd you say? What'd you say? HISD works. What did you say? HISD works. HISD works. Love it. Love it. More history lessons, ethnic studies in the park today. How many of you have heard of the NAACP? A legacy of fighting for civil rights. And let's get something clear. I would not have been allowed into college if not for the work of my ancestors before me, including the efforts of the NAACP. So, right now, please give your attention. As you've been doing, you're a great audience. And please welcome Bishop Dixon.
Thank you so very much. Good morning to everybody. Good morning, freedom fighters. Good morning, freedom fighters. This is a day that all of us make our voices known collectively, make our convictions known collectively, and make our commitment known collectively that we will not ever turn our backs on our students. We will not ever turn our backs on our teachers. And we will not ever turn our backs on our parents. For those are the heroes and the sheroes who have earned a B+ rating for HISD. I want to thank my friends and colleagues with the AFT and HFT, certainly ACLU, and the NAACP is proud to be partnering with them on the complaint that's been filed with the Department of Justice. I want to thank our Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee for her valiant leadership and warriorship
along with Congresswoman Lizzie Fletcher and Congressman Al Green and all of our federal leaders, as well as our state leaders. Chairman Ron Reynolds is here, and to all of those state representatives and all who are fighting the good fight. Our local elected officials, our mayor. We have a champion and a mayor who's willing to be on the front lines. Our county judge is fighting with us. We are excited because when you target our children, you wake all of us up. You wake up Black Voters Matter. You wake up LULAC. You wake up ACLU. You wake up HFT. You wake up AFL-CIO. You wake up pastors and churches. You wake up blacks and whites and browns and Asians. You wake up women, men, and children. And we all come together because we understand a few things. I'm done. One, an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. I'm very intrigued. Thank you, Johnny Mata. Thank you for your leadership. All of you. I'm intrigued by this. I'm still trying to figure out how a B+ grade given by TEA themselves can be treated like a failing grade. I'm trying to figure that out. When I asked the question of the TEA official at Delmar Fieldhouse on Wednesday night, I said, is it a B+ winning? Is that a win? He said, it's not an A. I then asked him if he had children. And I asked him if his child earned a B+ grade at his school, and the school treated his child like a failure, what would be his response? My question is, if a B+ school district like HISD is being taken over, then what about Klein ISD, Conroe ISD? What about Tomball ISD? What about Austin ISD? What about Dallas ISD? What about Deer Park? What about Galena Park? What about all the other districts that are making B or less? Is TEA saying they should look over their shoulders because we're coming after you next? Or is TEA saying HISD is a B+, but there are other reasons we're after HISD? And I believe that the reason Mike Barath cannot sit in front of us is because they cannot answer the question about what are the other reasons. And we are not naive. The reasons are money, power. The reasons are shutting down the strongest school district in Texas, and the reason is taking over the property that we own in our inner cities. The reason is using vouchers to empower private education, and the reason is you don't want to see greatness that looks black and brown. And so why am I so passionate? Because genius is genius. If it's black genius, it's genius. If it's brown genius, it's genius. If it's Asian genius, it's genius. If it's white genius, it's genius. And we need all of our children to receive the kind of education that produces people like us. I am an HISD graduate, and I'm proud of that. And so I close with this. We must make them answer the question. Tell us the truth. You can't tell us it's academic because we earned a B+. You can't tell us it's financial because we have a AAA bond rating. You can only tell us that you really intend to stop the progress. If our schools were failing, I think they would feel better.
But they're not.
But our schools are winning.
That is right.
And as long as our schools are winning, TEA has no reason to think of taking over HISD. Go away, TEA. If you want to see us do well, give us the money we need, the support we need, the staff we need, the libraries we need, the clinics we need, the help we need, and we can do great without you. Let's go forward together for justice.
Thank you, Bishop Dixon, for summoning that black and brown excellence, la excelencia de nuestras culturas unidas aquí este día. Hey, I know some of y'all tired. Some of y'all been here since early morning, 8:30, okay? I got to sleep early, okay? I got to sleep early. Some folks are tired. You're a great audience. I appreciate your energy, your attitude. You're giving love to everyone that's come up here. We have just a few more speakers, and this is a long battle. But I tell you what, your energy is appreciated. That means so much. And this fight's going to continue. We have just a few more speakers, but you want to hear from another parent? You want to hear from another parent? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Cristina Quintero, a parent from HISD.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. I wanted to start off with, Tina, what are we telling the TEA? Yell it. Come on. You ready? I'll yell you with you. TEA, go away. TEA, go away. TEA, go away. TEA, go away. You're doing good. I'm here this morning as a parent because I'm scared. My children go to Port Houston Elementary in the east side, and we are active in our school. I'm here because I have a child in special education, and I am frightened their IEP will be disrupted, and they will not receive their therapies that they need. My child has advanced so much to where he went from nonverbal to verbal because of a teacher that believed in him, because of principal that believed in him, because of educators that supported us. You know, I wrote a couple things down, and there's some things that I wanted to express. That this takeover is not creating better outcomes for our students. What it is, it's about Governor Abbott and the Republicans taking control of our schools. And it's no secret that the majority in our school district is black and brown. That's not a coincidence. So let's just put that out there. And I want to echo the sentiments that Congressman Al Green had said, that Dr. Lita had said, that Representative Ron Reynolds said about the vouchers, about accountability, about being able to keep everything localized. Why? Because as parents, as teachers, as educators, as school staff, we know what goes on in our communities, right? We know what works for us. And if it doesn't work, what do? We shut them down. If it doesn't work, we re-elect somebody else. We elect somebody else that's willing to work for our students. They claim they only want to help, but they look at some of the same politicians and what they are doing in Austin right now. They attack our educators, they attack our trans students, and how they choose to live their lives. They attack our school librarians and are trying to ban books every day. Books that I read as a kid in the 90s, my children will never understand unless I'm willing to step forward and speak for them. They are trying to sell Texans to towards the education voucher. I'm going to tell you something. As a parent with a SPED student, if I take that voucher, where am I going to take it to? One of these charter schools? They turn them away. I have gone to 2 different charter schools, and what they tell me is that they do not have the capability to help my son. Mind you, he's verbal, and that's horrible. No parent should feel discriminated, should feel pushed away because their child requires extra help. And it's not okay. I've been sitting here over an hour and a half. My son is a runner. He screams, he yells, and he's sitting patiently there because I spoke with him about the importance of being here, about what we are doing for our students. Coming this May and late April, I'm opting my daughter out of STAR because I refuse for them to use that information against our community. And I have educated other parents to do the same, because what they're doing in these schools, they're fear mongering. They're telling them if you don't do it, then your kid's not going to graduate. It's going to count against them. They're going to have to do the 30 hours the next year to go in towards after school activities, whatever. All they have to do is just educate themselves. Our friends at the CVPE are passing out these little leaflets. If you haven't received any, please raise your hands and we'll send them to you. They have a QR code where you can oppose a state takeover. And I ask you, please follow up with them, because they're the ones that are on the ground, that are in our schools, that are working with us so that our children can have a better future. And what I want to close with, as part of the Houston community, I appreciate each and every one of you out here for our students. I appreciate our teachers, our school staff, our bus drivers, our cafeteria workers, even the police officers that have worked at the schools. Why? Because they know that our children need us. And I'm asking, please continue to fight for them. Speak up for them, because there are children like my son that used to be nonverbal, they can't speak up. There are children that need to yell for them so that they can have the proper education and a brighter future. HISD works. It works. It works. Thank you. ¡Sí se puede!
Christine, please don't go. Did you hear the tremble in her voice? You hear the tears almost coming? I felt that in my heart. So we want to thank you so much. Is this is that emotional for you?
Yes, because it's not a fight for my child's life, it's a fight for every child in Houston ISD's life.
Thank you so much, and I invite you to be on my radio show if you can, okay? Thank you so much. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's powerful. This is who you're championing. On a daily basis, you edify people, you fire them up. I gotta give another shout out to the librarians. And the janitors, bus drivers, and one more shout out to librarians, because they are being targeted. In some school districts, detectives are following up on them because these books are being challenged. None of these books are dangerous, and I say this because I saw right-wing Republicans in Arizona ban these books for no reason other than they create us. They make it easier to write. If they really want us to learn how to read and write, our students love it. Last thing I'm going to say before we bring up another elected official who's there on the ground with us is that I'm a professor. When I teach ethnic studies, I got to tell students class is over. You got to go. It's done. Why? Because they love it. They're excited, and this is what school feels like. That's what they stop, ain't gonna happen. So thank you so much to librarians sticking up for us. We have just a few more elected officials that are here on the ground with us. Our next elected official is representing the community. I love because I see her all the time, not just in a time of crisis, in a time of joy, but when it's time to show up, she shows up. She's also running for another office. She's running to be the mayor of Houston. You've known her as your congresista. Please welcome Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee.
Isn't he outstanding? Isn't that what educators are all about? They are teachers, and I would say teachers for eternity. They teach our children to lay the groundwork for the greatness that they are. The greatness that they are. So we've had a lot of slogans. I just want you to say, our children are the greatest. Let me hear you say that. Our children are the greatest. Our children are the greatest. Our children are the greatest. And then we follow, obviously, coming from a home life of love, but then they come into the loving arms of teachers. Our teachers are the strongest. Let's hear it now. Our teachers are the strongest. Our teachers are the strongest. Our teachers are the strongest. I want Houston to be the education city. What that means is that every child has a place of honor, and everything we do is to enhance that child. And then I want it to be a place where parents feel that they are heard. And if anyone followed the 4 hearings that they had, no parent was heard from TEA. They were not heard. They were not answered in terms of the questions. And the administrator never showed up. I believe in the rights of parents. As you well know, we had to fight against the Parents' Bill of Rights, but I believe in the rights of parents because the Bill of Rights was book banning. I believe in hearing from parents. And the parents that I've heard from are against the hostile takeover of a public school system that has been standing for more than 80 years. And so my belief is, as we come to the realization that we have to be the mighty force. I want to tell you, you can never give up. You can never give in. You can never give out. This may be a long haul. Because as you well know, what this letter is growing with, I hope, hundreds of members of Congress that will sign this. Because we're trying to stop the death of public school education in America. And the death is starting right here at the Houston Independent School District. They cannot refute the fact that the Board of Managers is unelected. They cannot refute the fact that a parent cannot find who they will talk to. There is no board organization, meaning Board of Managers. If I'm in Southwest, who do I call? If I'm in the East End, who do I call? If I'm Central City, who do I call? That seems to be a challenge, that there will be no representation of students, teachers, or parents. That is a failed system of democracy. So I'm here today to say that I am still continuing to fight. Our president is an education president. I thank him for being in Mississippi today. But I believe this warrants federal action in a heavy-handed manner. I believe that the governor of the state of Texas can be sued. I believe that we will have to do this in court, but I believe that we can also manage this. The president intervenes with the Secretary of Education, and as well, if they respond to the Title VI that Johnny Mata has filed along with other civil rights groups. Johnny Mata. And I believe that we are now blessed by the fact, Audrey, you're not up here. We're now blessed by the fact that we have another Title VI being filed in the Department of Justice just a few minutes ago. Shout it out. The people in Houston mean business, and I mean the whole city of Houston. It is the NAACP, LULAC, Wheatley, Dr. Audra L. Nate, right here, a pediatric neurologist. She sees children, and she sees them, and she can heal them, and she knows what children can do. Did anybody counsel Dr. Audra, I would call her? I know that the kiddies call her Audra because they can't go the whole name. Did anybody ask doctors what we should do? Did anybody call some nurses and say, should we take it over? Did anybody sit down with a group of diverse parents from all parts? Did any parent here get a call in a meeting? I'm talking about a meeting beforehand. No. To sit down and get the involvement of parents. Did anyone hold a meeting with children? We're talking about them and around them. Do you know how they are feeling? Parents come and tell me and say that they are feeling a sensitivity that they have done something wrong. That's why I want them to know they are the best. And let's walk through these halls and say they're the best. I'm going to get to some schools while I'm here. They're the best. But TEA has given us a death knell, a destruction of public school education. And so I believe these words that are crucial to us, that we're in a fight for our life. We're nonviolent and peaceful, but we're unending. We will not stop until we can embrace a school district that does not begin the folding up of other school districts around in this urban center. Who knows who might be next because of a hiccup in their system. And let me be very clear. The options for the commissioner, he says, is closing one school or shutting down the system. I have read it. He has an option to just stop. to just stop and indicate that he is reviewing or that he's getting to it, while we are getting the resources that special needs children are in need of, and who they have not gotten that money, as evidenced by the Department of Education. Taking the money and throwing it elsewhere. And so, Commissioner, you've been tasked with being over the educational system of this great state and Houston Independent School District. You've been tasked. Right now, we're giving all of those in the state, and let me exempt our outstanding legislators. Give them a very big hand. They have been on the battlefield. Representative Rosenthal is here, and Representative Reynolds, and I don't know who else, my colleagues, Congresswoman Garcia and Congressman Green and Congresswoman Fletcher. We're all united together, but there is a failing grade for the state of Texas. And so what I'm saying to the President of the United States, in order to save public school education for the nation, for many of you should know, so goes Texas, so goes the nation. He needs to step in and indicate that the governor and the commissioner are wrong, that they are taking over illegally, that they have not spoken to parents, they have not spoken to teachers, and they have not spoken to the children. Dr. Audra is here because she is a parent, a doctor, away from her medical business, to be able to show that she is against this hostile takeover. She is one of the complainants going to the Department of Justice. So I know that you are going to be excited. And I just plain talked you just now. I didn't go up or didn't go down. I just wanted to plain talk you. Because when you're at a funeral, when there's a death knell, when there's a killing of public school education, we've got to be somber and we've got to be ready to get our energy together to make a difference. Arm yourself with facts. Embrace your children, love your teachers, and say no to the hostile takeover. And I am grateful for the American Federation of Teachers. They work with the NAA. I am grateful for them. They are powerful. And I know that she'll be introduced maybe by Jackie Anderson, another star. But I just have to say that my friend, Randy Weingarten, does not rest. She flies from one place to the next in America where she is needed. She is the American symbol of what is best for education. She fights whether it is a giant in front of her or whether it's a small rural community. She is the president of the vast numbers of teachers across America. She is warning us about the death of public school education. She has said it at the press club in Washington, D.C. She's been attacked by conservative press. But I don't know about you. I'm riding with Randy Weingarten because I'm riding with the education being number one, and I'm not riding with vouchers. I'm riding with public school education. Madam President, Madam President. And you got Retha Thomas, all part of the AFT. Thank you.
May I take this out? Fantastic. Our Congresswoman. I may live in New York City, but this is my Congresswoman. So, the good news is I am the last speaker.
That's not good news.
I love that. But the bad news is we have to keep on fighting. And all morning long, as the rain held off, but we had enough clouds, so we had enough little cover, right? Did I get that right, Bishop Dixon? I'm not the preacher in my family. That's my wife. But this right now is a moral fight. Yes. Because look at what they did. We've had this fight about a takeover in Houston. We've had it now several times. I'm a social studies teacher, not a math teacher. But it's been a lot of times already. And we've talked about the evidence. I remember a town hall meeting where we brought the evidence in from a lot of other places in the country. These state takeovers don't work. Frankly, most governors, as soon as they do them and realize they're not working, they try to get rid of them. Like we saw in Michigan, which basically was the home of Betsy DeVos. I want to talk about that for a second. They were defunding the Detroit public schools, everything. What was happening was terrible. It was horrible. You could see the racism attendant in every single action. It wasn't just the Flint water system. You could see it. And what they did, what they did was they said, okay, we're going to have this empowerment zone. I forget what they called it, enterprise zone, empowerment zone. And then what happened all of a sudden is they had to then show the public the scores in the empowerment zone, and they were terrible. And so what happens? After they hurt those schools, they gave them back to Detroit. They didn't give them to charter schools, they gave them back to Detroit. And then what else did they do in Detroit? Flood the zone, flood the zone, flood the zone. All of a sudden there's all these charter schools. And then what happened? Parents wanted a public system. We've been fighting that in Detroit for years. And Detroit is now, with Governor Whitmer, is now on the ascendancy again. The same thing happened in Philadelphia. One of the reasons that we actually have a chance of getting a teacher elected as mayor of Chicago is because the guy who's running against him, Vallis, charterized and balkanized the system in New Orleans. And what do you think? You think the school system in New Orleans is doing really well? No. Let me compare. And I love all my members. The school system in Houston on a bad day does better than the school system in New Orleans on a good day. So we know what happens with these state takeovers. We know what happens when you balkanize, when you try to atomize, when you just have charters or private schools. What happens in terms of a parent who needs a school to work for her daughter, who may be a special needs kid? What happens when a kid has challenges and you need a social worker? What happens when a kid is the most brilliant kid in life and you need a great math program? It's only a public school system that is responsible and accountable for every single child. A voucher school system is not. A charter school system is not. It is only a public school system. So the responsibility that we all know rests with a public school system. That's right. So let's think about what's going on here. We know that that's the responsibility. We know that that's where a parent can say, I need somebody to be accountable. And they're taking that away. So they don't want the government to be accountable. What else are they doing? They're taking it away for a system that I just told you doesn't work. And then worse, of all of these things, and this is how you know it's so hypocritical, all the reasons that they used to say they wanted a takeover don't exist anymore. They're gone. First they said, oh, it was Wheatley. Then they said, oh, the schools aren't doing well. Well, the Houston public schools are going in the right direction. Wheatley is going in the right direction. So what do? They changed the damn law to make it about power and control, not about students. So I'm sorry, I'm a social studies teacher and a lawyer. The takeover systems don't work for kids. They no longer make anybody. Who's going to be accountable? Mike Morath? a parent is going to be able to call Mike Morath? Give me a break. There will be no accountability because the schools they want to send kids to, voucher schools, charter schools, don't have any accountability. All the reasons that were student reasons that they said they wanted it, the schools here themselves have made that progress. They don't exist anymore. So, tell me, why did they change the law? What is this really about? That's why I say this is a moral fight. 50 districts in Texas have failing grades. Are they trying to take over those districts?
No, they don't have money.
So the bottom line, my friends, is this. It's about getting rid of public schools. It's a moral fight. And this is why they do it. They told us. Listen to Toni Morrison and others when they say, listen to what they say. One of their operatives last year said the following things. I don't have the words in front of me, so I'm not going to quote it. He's already said that if I quote it wrong, he's going to sue me for defamation. But these are words that he said. His name is Christopher Rufo. He advises Betsy DeVos, he advises Ron DeSantis, he may be advising Mike Morath. This is what he said. I want you to listen to these words. To get to universal vouchers, you need to create universal public school distrust. Now, think about everything that goes on here. Take money away from public schools, defund them. So no longer do you have the resources. We need more resources, not less. So no longer do you have the resources. Then start criticizing the schools for not being able to do that work. Then create fear and division, like book banning, like going after vulnerable kids, like not letting teachers being able to answer questions. Forget for a minute not paying teachers well and all of that. Do all of that so you can atomize and balkanize and defeat and divide public schools and attempt to divide parents from teachers and attempt to divide community from each other by defunding and that division. And why is it? Why are they fearful that our kids can learn? Why are they fearful of public education? Why are they fearful of pluralism? The bottom line is this. The powers that be, whether it be Abbott or Morath or DeVos, they are fearful of the hope and of the future you provide every day. You know that. I know that. That's why this is a moral fight. And if we believe in our kids, if we believe in our communities, if we believe in our teachers, we need to make that moral fight regardless of what they do. So, today, it is fighting against the takeover. It is filing these lawsuits. But we cannot be turned around. We need to make this fight for our children. Thank you.
I hope you have got your calling card. I hope you have heard. And I just want you to know, this is for the entire Houston Independent School District. Let us not be separated. Let us be like the fingers on a hand. When all the fingers are together, we have a powerful hand. And that's what you all have. That's the call that President Weingarten has made. Let us continue our strength. It is not for self. It is for our children. It is for this family. It is for the family of teachers. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you. Thank you to the American Federation of Teachers. Thank you to the leaders here, both Jackie and Retha. Thank you, Professor, and thank you to these long sufferers, and our senior statesman, Johnny Mata. Senior statesman, Johnny Mata, Johnny Mata has never stopped giving, never stopped doing, and has never given up the fight for justice. Give him a standing ovation with your hands, with your hands.
Give yourself a hand, all of you. Let me tell you, after so many years in the trenches, we haven't even started the fight. Very few people would say these words because of fear for their life. I don't have too many years to go. America is great, but you have so many politicians that are dividing this country based on the racial divide issue. A lot of countries are watching what's happening in America because they would like to tumble this great country.
That's right.
They're aiding and abetting the enemy of America. Whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or whatever you are, you need to tell these people that are doing this divide, you need to tell them you're not going to get reelected. We need to unite a country when we have a troubled world.
Yes.
But let me also say this. Let us not just blame the politicians. Let us also blame ourselves. Because the numbers on this rally, somebody said, well, Johnny, the parade is going to look bad. It doesn't look bad. Y'all are here.
Right.
And we don't need to get on the blame game. What we need to do is, if you think that the takeover HISD is the last straw, they're ready to take care of government, local, that's the city of Houston, and the county. Why? Because the majority of the governing body is people of color. But you know what? They're gonna succeed if we don't get out there and register everybody that we can run into. This should have been filled with parents and all. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying we all have a role to do and to go and talk to everyone that you can talk to in the church and everywhere else. The Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee said, we're at a critical stage of our lives. But this is not about us, the elderly people, or the middle. This is about our children. And if you really love your children, you will not only motivate and activate masses of people.
That's right.
The next March, if we don't get our act together and quit blaming each other, and we have 50,000 people on Main Street to send the message. Now, why are we here today? Because of the takeover. How many of us go clamoring for raises for the teachers and better benefits? Now, they said that the coalition filed a Title VI complaint of discrimination. I filed it against the governor of Texas.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that's preaching vouchers.
Yeah.
He's divided the country.
He's divided.
I mean the state. And he ought to be ashamed of himself.
That's right.
If you have no conscience, then you have no place in government.
That's right. Get out. That's right.
Now, I will tell you, I know you're tired, and I make short speeches. So I'm going to end it with this. Embrace each other around you right now. Embrace yourself. Let's see you embrace each other. I don't see it. Are you ashamed of your neighbor or what? Now, that is what we're going to need in our community.
That's right.
And we're going to need not only the numbers in marching, but we got to be civil.
Yeah.
A lot of our organizations, by nature, are nonviolent. I was raised that way. The power is on the vote, and let's get them out there on the polls and get them out of office if they stink.
Thank you, Mr. Lulak, and you have been a wonderful audience. I do have a little extra credit for you because some of you are like, hey, we need some extra credit. And we did want to give a Latina the last word, and we want to talk about voting. So we're going to right now bring up a Latina who's a big figure in our community, and then we're going to close with some words from Black Votes Matters. But mujeres luchan por nuestra cultura por generaciones. Generaciones. Please welcome the director of LULAC District 18, the big one. It's a big district. It's an important one. Marta Diaz.
Thank you, Tony. As a 30-year veteran, retired school teacher, I can tell you we will not stand for this. District 18 fully supports the lawsuits that have been filed. But you know what? We don't need a lot of people. We need us. We need to be the agents that change this business. It's a business to them. At the core of an educator, you always respect the student. At the core of a parent, you respect your child. You do not treat your children the same. Look at your hand. It is one, but look at the fingers. They are different, and each one needs to be treated specially. And so TEA, take the education out of there, because you're not an educator. You do not discipline everyone the same way. You have to find what the problem is, and you have to correct the problem. You do not discipline the whole district. No. Think about it this way. We have a B+. If you're an athlete in Texas schools, if you have a 70, you can go and play. So please, be an agent of change. Get out the vote. Don't just register. Take someone to the polls. So, thank you so much. Y mi gente, nosotros podemos. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede.
Sí se puede. Sí se puede. We have one short announcement before we talk about voting, because I heard some of y'all still want to march. So, you know what? Are you going to march? If you march, I'm going to march. So, you up for that?
Hello everyone, my name is Kendra Yaro Camarena. I'm a former educator and parent. I'm here to tell you what you can do. So, this Saturday at the Church of Christ at Trinity Gardens, there is a Fight the Takeover CPP meeting at 1 o'clock, 1 to 2:30. On Sunday, we have a lot. If you can't go to one, can't go to both, go to one. We have the Coalition to Save HISD and Protect Our Children, Sunday, April 2nd at 3 p.m. and you can at the Community of Faith Church. And if you can't go to either of those meetings, there is an online petition against TEA from CVPE that you can go to CVPE Houston and sign the online petition. We have to act.
Thank you so much. All right. Rest up, get fired up, because after this next speaker, we're going to march. Dr. Lita will lead us in the march. And you, yeah. Woo! Now, you heard the message. We have the power. We can vote people in and vote people out. Our last speaker's on the stage because this ain't over. We're marching. We'll be in your lives. Speaking for Black Votes Matter. Welcome, Cliff Albright. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hola, buenos dias. Good morning. How y'all doing? We fired up. We fired up. All right, my name is Cliff. I'm co-founder, executive director of Black Voters Matter. We travel around 28 states and support local work in communities in 28 states around extending voting rights, around extending access to the vote, around mobilizing voters. And part of the reason that we do that is because what we recognize is that when we don't have full access to the vote, when we have voter suppression bills like what's going on here in Texas right now, they're trying to go further than what they did a couple years ago. They got more than a dozen bills right now trying to restrict the vote. And so what we recognize is that when we don't have that full access, when we don't have our full voting rights, you create elected officials that are not responsive to the people. You can't have a people's agenda when you don't have elected officials that are responsive to the people. That's how you wind up with a state government that discriminates against trans, that allows communities to go without a power grid and to freeze the deaf. That's how you wind up with a state and a community that tries to control women's bodies. That's how you can wind up in a community that tries to incarcerate our folks, that doesn't do anything about gun violence, that doesn't respect young folks, and doesn't believe that black voters matter. That's how you wind up in that situation. But here's the good news, y'all. We got two things that can correct that. We got love. Somebody say love. Love. And we got another thing. We got something called power. Somebody say power. Power. And when we got both of those things, and we have fully energized both of those things, Dr. King taught us, he said you can't have one or the other. He said power without love is reckless and abusive, right? We know what reckless and abusive power looks like, right? That's what we got going on at that state capitol right now. But what he also said is that we need that love without power is sentimental and anemic, right? We don't need a sentimental and anemic kind of love, right? We need a love that's merged with power. We need a holistic and agape kind of love. We need the kind of love that holds folks accountable, including elected officials, brother. I'm going to get to your point. We need the kind of love that every now and then, Bishop, you might have to go in and turn the tables over on the money changes, right? That's the kind of love that we need. And so what our history shows us is that when we come together in that love, when we come together, black and brown, progressive, white, young and old, when we come together, ACLU and NAACP and Black Voters Matter and all these AFT, when we come together, they can't stop us. And they know they can't stop us. That's why they're trying to do what they're trying to do to the Houston schools right now. Not because they're failing, but because they're working. The same way that right here in this city, in this county, y'all came out in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of an election, and y'all came out and made history, had record turnout. And so they try to come back and take away the very things that made that happen. That's what they're trying to do with our schools right now. But we got a message for them. We won't let them, because when public schools are under attack, what do we do? When our children are under attack, what do we do? When our communities are under attack, what do we do? So we've got the power, we've got to believe in that power, and part of that power is these young folks that's just going to say a very quick word, but I just want to respect what my brother over here said, because he wants to send a message that part of what we got to do, we know we can't just talk to one another, right? We know that we got to have all of our communities and all of our churches active. We need all of the elected officials, like the ones that were up here earlier, to go and do the same thing that they do when they campaign, to go to the communities and spread this message that we're talking about. So I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to just let the young folks just say a very quick word. It'll be brief. Okay.
Hi, y'all. I'm Maria Mendez, and I go to Worthing High School. And I'm partnership with HGSP Union. And I'm here to tell y'all we need to help our community be more safe, honestly. We need more resources, more wraparound specialists. The TEA is messing up our schedule. We have testing. This takeover is not doing us any better right now. And I feel like us, as the future kids, we need to do better now. We need to focus on our community and whatnot. And I want to say this, since y'all call us the future so much, let us help y'all. Let us have our voice. Let us have our opinion. Y nosotros sí podemos ayudar al futuro. Los quiero mucho.
All right, folks, I know you have been here. I know all votes matter. All votes matter. Black, brown, Asian, Indian, every vote matters. Then let me just say a couple of things. We're going to wrap it up. And Bishop Dixon, a spiritual man, and Randy Weingarten said this is a moral issue. Absolutely. But if you study Cesar Chavez, there's his book right here. And all of you are educators and classroom and students from HISD know the suffering of Cesar Chavez. Our community is suffering. And I'm listening to the community. Unlike TEA, I'm listening to you. And we're going to rewind the clock in the spirit of Martin Luther King, nonviolence. In the spirit of Cesar Chavez, on Cesar Chavez Day at Cesar Chavez High School, we're going to have the Virgin de Guadalupe in the front, leading a little symbolic march around here, because it's in the spirit of their sacrifice. Because we are here because of their suffering, and we honor that. Get with your group. Bishop Dixon is going to lead the procession with the Virgin de Guadalupe. Mr. Dixon, would you mind going to the front? Everyone is going to line up here. Mr. McKinsey. You folks, and we're going to walk that.